Welcome to Create with Chris. I am Chris Hoy, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to create this fun Valentine tag. Starting out with a tag, and I have base coated it with acrylic white paint. I am positioning my stencil and securing it with a piece of painter's tape. I loaded my spectacular stencil brush with lamp black paint. Oops, let's make that tomato red paint. I decided to do the heart first so that I can get that position before I put the black on. When you load your spectacular stencil brush, make sure that you wipe most of the paint out on a paper towel. This will ensure that your paint is going to not slip under the stencil and leave you with ragged or jaggedy edges. You want a nice, clean, crisp stencil. Load your brush well with paint, wipe it over a paper towel until any excess is removed. I did place another stencil right over the red heart. That's just to ensure that I don't get any black paint on that pretty red heart. Using a light touch, my spectacular stencil brushes have a very soft bristle. Here I'm just going to cover up the edge of that heart, again to protect it so I don't get black paint in there. And when I am stenciling, I have a very, very light touch. If you push the brush too hard, you're just going to smush that paint underneath the stencil and not have those perfect edges that you're trying to achieve. So take your time, go slow, have a light touch, and use very, very little paint. Always anchor your stencil in place with painter's tape. It's going to take a lot of stress away. Now look how perfect that is. I am heat drying it with the Ranger Heat It tool. It's going to make sure that everything is nice and dry before I move on. Gosh, we're almost finished. It's that easy. Next, I decided that I needed to add a little more, so I'm using a very low grit, I think it's like a 220 sandpaper, just gonna kind of scuff up the edges and give a little more of a distressed look to that. Did go over the stencil part, but not heavily. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of design. I'm using my stylus. I'm going to add some white dip dots in that heart. It just adds a little bit of whimsy to it, and I think it looks great. But you want to make sure those hearts those dots don't get smeared. Hit it again with that heat tool. Make sure that everything's dry before you go to the next step. Wanted to add a cute little tassel on the top. Red and white baker's twine was great. Fold it in half, stick it through the front of the tag, loop it around, and to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, I did tie the top of it just to keep everything nice and secure. And I'll use these two strings to add or to tie the tassel on with as well. Just get your extra strings, double them up, put them in there, give it a tie. Make sure that's not going to come apart. Going to add just another knot in there. You want to anchor it really well. Pull those up. I'm going to take another piece of twine and wrap it around the top and tie it. Make sure that that tassel has that nice little rounded end on it. Wrap it around probably a couple times just to give a little more put a little more volume around that. Tie it up well. Once you get it tied in place, knot it in the back side and just flip it over and put the knot on the back side. Makes it look just a little bit better. Tie a good knot in there. And actually this probably takes about as much time as it does to stencil all the lettering. Okay, once you get that in place, take your scissors and trim it up. Cut those loops off of there, open them up. If you want to, you can fray the baker's twine out or just let it be full. And that is pretty much it. I think it turned out just fantastic. I love it, and I hope you do as well. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, everything's available from Cubbert Distributing, www.cdwood.com.